Hello, and welcome to Anywhere But Here. Today, we're going to visit the Buckeye State. We evaluated things like crime, education, unemployment, income, and overall safety to determine the 10 worst cities in the state. We now present to you the 10 worst cities in Ohio. Coming in at number 10 is Akron. With a population of about 197,000, it is Ohio's fifth largest city. Akron was long known as the rubber capital of the world. No, not rubbers, rubber, as in tires, with 4 major tire companies headquartered there. But sadly, by the late 90s, only the Goodyear Tire Company remained. Now, the unemployment rate in Akron is 8.2%, and the per capita income is $17,596 a year. 26.7% of Akron's residents live at or below the poverty line. 2019 FBI crime statistics show 1,782 violent crimes, including 27 murders and 181 reported rapes. 1 in 30 residents is likely to be the victim of a property crime of some sort, and Summit County is known as the meth capital of Ohio, and the county ranks 3rd in the nation for the number of meth labs. As far as education, out of 608 school districts in Ohio, Akron ranks number 585, which sounds horrible. But that actually makes it the 4th best on this list of cities. Coming in at number 9, Springfield. It seems like every state in the Midwest has a Springfield, but few are as awful as Springfield, Ohio. Located in Clark County, Springfield has a population of just under 59,000. Once known as a, quote, all-American city, Springfield now ranks as one of the lowest cities in the nation in terms of health, happiness, and overall well-being. From 1999 through 2014, Springfield residents saw a 27% drop in median income, the largest drop in the entire country. This was primarily due to the loss of manufacturing and other blue-collar jobs. With a per capita income of only $16,660, 16.9% of Springfield's population lives below the poverty line, and 7.5% are unemployed. Despite violent crimes being down in 2019, property crimes remain high, with residents having a 1 in 20 chance of being a victim. On the bright side, Springfield schools rank number 502 out of 608, making it the 2nd best school district on this list. The port city of Toledo, with its population of over 274,000, comes in at number 8. Since 1970, the population of Toledo has dropped by 30% and continues to decline due to the loss of manufacturing jobs and increasing crime. In 2018, Toledo was named the 43rd most dangerous city in the United States. And in 2019, there were over 2,600 violent crimes, including 34 murders and almost 10,000 property crimes. In 2016, Toledo was identified as the 4th largest recruiting site for human trafficking in the United States. Per capita income is $17,388, and 18% of Toledo residents live below the poverty line. Unemployment in Toledo is at 8.5%. Toledo schools rank number 596 out of 608 districts in the state. So if you're planning to move to Toledo with kids, make sure you find a good private school ahead of time. In 1803, Chillicothe was the original capital of Ohio. Today, it's the 7th worst city in the state. The current population of Chillicothe is about 22,000, and they know they're home when they smell the noxious fumes coming from the large paper mill. Most of the locals call it the smell of money. Per capita income in Chillicothe is just over $19,000 per year, with 12.4% of its residents living below the poverty line. Now, schools here aren't as bad as most of the cities on this list, which isn't saying much. The district ranks number 512 out of Ohio's 608 school districts. Although in 2019, the high school principal was sent to prison for sex crimes involving 2 underage students. Thanks to the high number of opioid addicts in Chillicothe, crime is high. With 1,575 property crimes in 2019, 1 in 13 residents will likely have something stolen. On the bright side, there were no murders in 2019. Number 6 on our list, Steubenville. Beautiful Steubenville lies on the Ohio River near the West Virginia border and is only 33 miles from Pittsburgh. Its population of just under 18,000 is about half of what it was in 1970, and like most cities on this list, is still declining. Per capita income in Steubenville is $17,380 a year, with 20.4% of the residents living below the poverty line and just under 10% being unemployed. Overall crime isn't as bad in Steubenville as some of the other cities on this list, although there were 3 murders and 6 reported rapes in 2019. And back in 2013, in a case that drew national attention, 2 local high school football players were convicted of raping a highly intoxicated teenager from West Virginia, then sharing the details via social media. On the bright side, one thing Steubenville does have going for it is that its schools are on the top 100 districts in the state, ranked at number 70. Number 5 on our list, Warren, Ohio. Warren, Ohio lies in the northeast corner of the state between Youngstown and Cleveland. Warren's population of just under 39,000 has dropped by about 10% every 10 years since 1970. Are you starting to see a trend in Ohio's worst cities? People have been steadily fleeing for decades. Per capita income in Warren, Ohio is $16,808 a year. For a full-time worker, that equals $8.08 per hour. Yikes. 19.4% of Warren's population live below the poverty line, including 30% of the people 18 and under. According to overall crime data, Warren, Ohio is safer than only 6% of U.S. cities. That's right, 94% of the cities in the U.S. are safer than Warren. Your chances of being a victim of violent crime are 1 in 157. That's over twice as likely as residents of Ohio as a whole. So basically, in terms of crime for cities around the same size, Warren is probably one of the worst cities in all of America. Education in Warren isn't much better. Schools here rank 588 out of 608. There are a total of 20 school districts in the entire state of Ohio where kids will get a worse education than they will in Warren. Number 4, Canton. The Hall of Fame city, Canton, Ohio. Also located in Northeast Ohio, Canton has a population of just over 70,000. And here's a shocker. The population has been steadily declining since its peak in 1950. Per capita income is $19,097, with 31% of its population living below the poverty line. The unemployment rate in Canton is just under 8%. If you're looking for a city that is crime infested, then Canton is your place. 2019 FBI data reports 981 violent crimes. That's almost 1 in 70 people being a victim of a violent crime. There were 6 murders and 135 reported rapes. People in Canton are 4 times as likely to be the victim of a violent crime than the average of the rest of Ohio. One stat that jumped out at us was that there are 182 crimes per square mile in Canton, compared to the Ohio average of 28 crimes per square mile. Canton is reported to be in the bottom 1% of safe cities in the entire United States. Education in Canton isn't very promising either, with its schools ranking number 599 out of 608. At number 3, Youngstown. Youngstown, Ohio is another miserable northeastern Ohio city. Youngstown was once the center of steel production in the United States, but like most of the Rust Belt, those days are long gone. Once having a population of over 170,000, Youngstown now has just over 65,000 residents. Per capita income in Youngstown is $17,827, with over 36% of its residents living below the poverty line and unemployment at almost 10%. If you're looking for a good job, Youngstown ain't the place to be. While not as crime-riddled as cities like Canton or Warren, Youngstown is still not very safe, with residents being twice as likely to be a victim of a violent crime as Ohio residents as a whole, and having a 1 in 28 chance of being a victim of a property crime. And if you're looking for a city with good schools for your kids, there are 605 school districts in Ohio that are better than Youngstown. That's right, they are ranked number 606 of 608. But things in Youngstown aren't all bad. The median home value is the lowest in the state at $49,900. Oh wait, that's not really good either. On to number 2, Dayton. Dayton is the 6th largest city in Ohio with a population over 140,000. And guess what? Since 1970, its population has decreased by over 100,000. And even though the per capita income is over $34,000 a year, there are still 23% of Dayton's residents living below the poverty line. This income disparity can only lead to one thing: crime. Dayton ranks in the bottom 3% of American cities in terms of safety, meaning 97% of U.S. cities are safer than Dayton. Dayton residents are more than 3 times as likely to be the victim of violent crime than Ohio residents at large, and 1 in 24 people in Dayton will be the victim of a property crime. Despite an unemployment rate of 7.9%, Bloomberg Business once called Dayton one of the top cities in the U.S. for college graduates looking for jobs. Maybe that's because the local applicant pool is incredibly shallow because of Dayton having the worst schools in all of Ohio. That's right, number 608 out of 608. So I guess there are jobs in Dayton, but no one there is qualified for them, and no one else is willing to risk living there. Before we get to the number 1 worst city in Ohio, let's take a look at those cities that didn't quite make the cut. We'll call them the dishonorable mentions. Cities that didn't quite make the list of the 10 worst cities in Ohio include Lima, Mansfield, Cincinnati, Zanesville, and Fremont. Congratulations, you're not as terrible yet. And the number 1 worst city in Ohio? East Cleveland. Congratulations, East Cleveland. You are the worst city in Ohio. With a remaining population of about 17,000, most people have already fled. Since 2000, East Cleveland's population has dropped by over 10,000. That's a 35% decrease. Clearly, we don't need to tell people how terrible East Cleveland is. The per capita income is $16,119. That's less than $8 per hour. Almost 40% of East Cleveland's residents live below the poverty line. Surprisingly, crime in East Cleveland isn't as bad as you would expect. Don't get us wrong, there's plenty of crime in East Cleveland. 168 reported crimes per square mile. But overall, it's better than most cities on this list. In 2019, there were only 3 murders and 1 reported rape. The chance of being a victim of a violent crime was only 1 in 175. And overall, East Cleveland is shockingly considered to be safer than 21% of all cities in the United States. What makes East Cleveland stand out as the worst city in Ohio isn't necessarily safety. It is primarily its lack of jobs with unemployment over 10% and its horrible schools that rank number 607 out of 608. Where most of these cities have at least something going for them, East Cleveland's got nothing. There is nothing good going on in East Cleveland. There's high crime, high unemployment, high poverty, low property values, and horrible schools. Congratulations, East Cleveland. We hope you've enjoyed our list of the 10 worst cities in Ohio. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to see more best of and worst of lists. Also, drop a comment below and tell us what you think. Is your city on the list and you don't think it should be? Or did we leave a city out that you think deserves to be on the list? Let us know, and we'll see you next time, anywhere but here.